Welcome back to another live stream this Monday with July the 14th. How are we doing? I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Yeah, a wonderful weekend. And it's great because it's Monday. And everything will just be perfect. Just like that. Breaking down limitations. Breaking through limitations. Just like that. Why, hello there, Linda. Welcome back to another live stream, ever present as always. And you say, hello to you, Joseph. My new go-to affirmation is always believe in myself. That's awesome. Always. I was just thinking, you don't have to do this, but when I see things like that, I try it on and I think it's really good. But I always think, I wonder how I can improve something. And it might not resonate whatsoever. Because the meaning behind words is all, it's subjective. But the hierarchy, like always know in myself, maybe. Maybe not, who knows? Who knows? Always know. Because a knowing is more than believing, isn't it? Anyway, feel free to disregard that. It popped into my mind, and I tend to say what pops into my mind. And it works out some of the time. But I am doing pretty good, thank you. I've had a real busy day. I was working this morning, then editing the coaching call. Great celebration, by the way, Linda. And then I had a meeting, then I had some work to do, then I had to get out for an hour, as in go for my walk hike, and then get ready for here, and then edit this. But yeah, all good. All good. Although I'm pretty tired today. I didn't sleep too much, I don't think. I think it was under 7. I know people might be like, oh, that's amazing. I wish I had 7. But the day before, I had 8 hours. But yes, all is well. Hey, Mary. Another superstar. Welcome back to the live. That's awesome. A new week. New you, new week. Every day you wake up, you're a new version, and that means you get to decide. And we have the wonderful Jen here as well. Happy New Week and happy National Mac and Cheese Day. Wow. I did not know that. There's a day for everything. I never eat that. I don't know why. Hey Charles, thank you. Great to have you on the live stream. We don't really get many people on Facebook. I don't know even how many likes I've got on my page. I like over 20 because of the whole Facebook out. Did I say over 20? I've got over 20 likes on Facebook. I've got over like 20,000 I meant to say, but we only get like 1 or 2 people ever on the live streams, but welcome. And Michelle is here as well. Welcome back. Today we're doing a power talk. Next Monday, I'm thinking of doing a hypnotic meditation of... I'm trying to think of the word I want to call it. But it's like tapping into the field. Like a hypnosis session to tap into the field beyond us. I think that'd be kind of cool. That's what I'm thinking. But I did promise we'd do a power talk because we've had a couple of meditations now. And this will be episode 1137. Any more updates? So, YouTube. Slight improvement. Very slight. We'll take any improvement as good. Any improvement as good. Because we had the dizzy heights of 200,000 views. The more dizzying low of the algorithm getting us to just around 100,000 and a little bit below maybe. But now we're back up to 105,000. So we're getting up. We're getting up. Wanting more. Getting more. Accepting more. Knowing more. Yeah, that'll be the session we're going for if you're referring to that. Tapping into the field. I've been doing a bit of writing. Great to know, Ruby. And getting better. Doing well, getting better. Mina is here as well. Welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and feeling strong. I don't think I've got many updates today. Usually I have a couple, but not today. Not today. I know. Alright, that's enough. Okay, that didn't work. But as I'm getting a bit tired today, get some energy going. Hey Samantha, welcome back. Is this like the 4th time in a row now? Is this like the 4th in a row? 4 weeks, back to back. That's like the common theme now, every time you join. Is this like the 5th time, Samantha, you've been here? Pleased to hear that. Maybe you all should give me updates like this. Hot weather 90s, wow. San Diego is gloomy today. I don't know what, this must be like 70 something, but it's gloomy. So we'll get started in usually about 1:15 the hour. I might start earlier just because we've got not many updates. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That's great. Isn't it great that you can transform in a fun way? You know, the old way used to be like cry, tears, living in trauma, reliving it over and over and over and over again. Which to me can get resolution because it can numb the energy, but it can also create rumination, which is not so good. Ruminating in the pain. I think we just have fun. Well, I was thinking maybe that's why I'm tired. I don't think I could ever live back in England. Because I just get tired when it's gloomy. What are we going to talk about today, did I hear you ask? Okay, we'll get there in a minute. Let's not be too eager. Let's not be too eager. I like this one. It's kind of soothing. It doesn't have a good loop to it though. Oh, this one. Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. Not around the eyes, but into the eyes. That's right. And relax. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, that was a bit slow. Where are we? Yeah, it's just the weather. It's always nice that we welcome and say hello to people. Interesting. I think you've got to tap below, and it might be there. Where am I? Where am I? No, I'm in the past. I'm in the past. I'm that far ahead of myself in the future. There's a little X to get out of it. And then you tap the live chat. And I'm there. How far am I away? And I'm there. How far am I away? And I'm there. How far am I away? Okay, that's going to be an infinity level of feedback. We'll stop that. Yeah, yep, let's elliptical. Yes. No, you may not actually.
No. No. Now go ahead. Ask a question. Hey, Eric. Eric's in the house.
Welcome back, Eric. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. So yeah, well, we've got room for a bit of questions. How would you describe NLP if a person asked you to explain it to them as if they were a 5-year-old? So, for those who don't know, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And you get like become a practitioner, master prac, trainer, and a master trainer. And I'm the master trainer. So because I think like a 5-year-old probably, I always kind of explain like that. You got neuro means brain, kind of just say brain for a second. Linguistic is language. Programming is programming. So it's using language to reprogram the mind. So by changing our inner associations to things, like reframing, or I'm kind of getting a bit too technical if I was saying that to a 5-year-old. But I would probably say it as using language to retrain, if you want to do a softer word rather than reprogram. So using language to retrain the mind. In that way, you can see the world differently, and even yourself. Is that too simplistic? Just changing the words order? But you could say it comes from hypnosis and also psychotherapy, technically. Or you could say it's using hypnotic language patterns in a conscious way as well. Hey Angela, welcome back. How's England? Thank you, Cheryl, for the ever so kind as usual. Oh. Ever so kind. Always a great supporter of the channel. In fact, I think you're only our sole super chatter. Oh, I should have done a better job. Yeah, so Richard Bandler and John Grinder were modeling at first a lady called Virginia Satir. So almost about right there. And she was a family psychotherapist. And she would kind of have people, when she was teaching this anyway, be very what's it called? Oh my goodness. Come back to me now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But she would have these, like, say, for example, a volunteer, and then she would get people to act out different positions around that person, recreating maybe a traumatic memory. And then she would kind of get the person to step out and look through the eyes of this person, look through the eyes of that. Gestalt therapy, it did come back to me. It's very Gestalt in nature. And she was getting really good words by using very specific questions, like how specifically are you this? How do you know that to be true? So she'd be very, very conscious of her language, very specific. And they thought this was the only way of being able to get results, because you got this great Virginia Satir, and the hypnotist who trained me to be hypnotist was like really good friends with Virginia Satir when she was alive. So I had that bit of a connection. I never met her, of course, but Wilf Proudfoot was my first ever teacher. Anyway, I digress again. They thought getting real specifics like the only way or the best way to getting transformation. But then they hear about this guy from, I think, Gregory Bateson. I think it was Gregory Bateson, I'm pretty sure. About this guy who was getting great results being artfully vague using hypnosis, and that was Dr. Milton Erickson. And he would use open-ended questions, very vague words, generalizations, like metaphors and analogies, which will get the person to bypass their own conscious illusions and see it. It's like, I've said this before, like, tell a kid not to lie, and they'll go, oh, I'm gonna lie anyway. Show them the metaphor of Pinocchio of lying, then they're like, oh, I better not lie. So he would get results in a very vague way. So they managed to kind of have this flexibility between the two and use them in very specific and very vague ways. And then after that, it just became a trail of techniques, which were created, like Dilts, who I trained up with Robert Dilts in Santa Cruz, the home or the birthplace of NLP. That's where Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Bandler was a student, Grinder was the teacher, lecturer. Anyway, bit of history there. Still warm, love it. Why does language influence our minds that much? Because language is the makeup, it's the foundation, right? Like, if we did not have language, we probably would not be anywhere. They say one of the, language was probably the thing which, you could say other things, some people think it's like hallucinogenics as well, but when the humans learned language, it opened up this vast possibility of communication and therefore enhanced us. And so when we're saying words, for example, if I'm saying something to you, it creates a representation in your mind of what you think is true. So my words influence your perception. And if we're very young when we've been told those things, it definitely influences. So language is that powerful. And then if you just add physiology and tone into it, like if I were to say, so go ahead and relax, the sound, hopefully, the inflection, will make you relax that bit more. The communication is how you see the world around you through your 5 senses. Yes, we are here. I'm catching up. I think I'm caught up. Should we start with the power talk? It's about time. It's about time. I thought about this. I had to save one power talk for another day because I want to share it with my main program first. So that's going to happen this Saturday. And then hopefully I'll take some elements and put it into a power talk in a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, we are Going to do a power talk on byproducts we don't see. That's what came to my mind. An image appeared, which created then language of what I'm going to be talking about today. Okay. Episode 1137 is coming up right here. No, not right here, right now. Gotta stop the music. Hey, why does that not stop the music? Oh. Stop the sound. That's what I needed. I'm very dehydrated today as well. That's probably why I'm tired. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 1137. And in today's episode, we are going into a power talk. And it's going to be pretty interesting, and I think you're going to find it pretty valuable. So I want you to stick with me on this subject, because you might be missing a lot out of your perception of what is possible once you make the changes in your life. Whether you use coaching, whether you use my program or my app or your own personal development, I think it's going to really extend the depth of how powerful and how amazing it is to decide to let go of your issues. That is going to be the magic part of this today. So I was thinking today about the byproducts of what we don't see. You see, or using a word saying you see, you can't see beyond the wall of your limiting beliefs. So just imagine that in your mind, that if there was a wall in front of you and that wall represented the limiting beliefs that you hold about yourself, or the limiting thoughts you may have throughout the day. You could imagine like writing that thought down, putting like in graffiti or what have you, maybe the negative emotions there. That wall blocks your vision of what is beyond the other side, of course. And that is, in my opinion, your potentiality. And we've been building up this wall one brick at a time through events. So you can imagine each event which is significant, emotional, which is negative, what had to happen to you, as being just another brick in that wall. And you might even imagine like labeling it, oh, that was this event in 1983 or 1990. And what have you. So as we start to build these bricks in our mind, it gets harder and harder to look over the wall, right? Because it's just getting higher, it's getting more expansive. But sometimes we've got to just imagine what it would be like if we did not have that wall. Because you could say, well, I want to have confidence. Confidence is such a vague word that it's hard to even try it on as a feeling, or at least to contextualize it. Like the content of the confidence is good, but where do we put it in a certain context? Do we see ourselves as being, if we removed that wall and had like confidence, how would it have an effect on specific context, which would be, say, a relationship? How did it change your relationship if you were profoundly confident and competent? Or if you're thinking that wall again, just inverse it, right? In terms of the words you may have said or the emotions. So say from anger to calm, from not being good enough to being good enough, from not being worthy to being worthy. Think of sadness to pure and utter excitement and bliss. How does it have an impact on the things you're not seeing, right? It's like sometimes, as an analogy which I've said before and got it wrong, was it's like a horse where it has the blinders, right? I call them blinkers for some reason one day, but they're blinders, right? They kind of shut out the potentiality of it, of the awareness of the environment for good reason, because they don't want the horses distracted. But maybe the limiting beliefs within ourselves or the emotions are distracting us from what is really possible if you were to have that freedom. So I invite you this because you get magical things happen to you in the most amazing way when you make the change that you desire. From not good enough to good enough, you might go, well, yeah, that's going to be amazing, but there's so much more to discover. One of my clients, and this must have been like at least probably over 12 months ago, they lost about 20 pounds in weight. They went through my program. I don't recall them ever mentioning it, but they lost 20 pounds in weight. And guess what? They did nothing to their conscious mind to do that. They didn't work out harder. I know they did eat healthier but that wasn't the biggest thing. They focused on what the root cause was, which for them was not good enough and not being worthy. And in fact, it was even a little bit deeper as well. They didn't feel as if they're lovable. Now, how can a unlovable person ever not maybe indulge to escape or to feel good? But it wasn't in their vision to be able to make that weight loss. They thought it was totally unconnected, disconnected from the real problem, which in this case was being unlovable, which therefore meant they weren't worthy. But when they made that change, they decided and they let go of it. What happened next as a byproduct, which they could never imagine or ever thought to be, they simply lost 20 pounds in a very quick period. Now, it wasn't over the 8 weeks of my program. We have like updates beyond that. But within the program, they lost like 10, 12 pounds or something. But it was a byproduct that they never thought was really possible. There was another person in my program, totally unrelated again. It was purely for their own development, but they wanted to break free of that inner critic, the imposter syndrome. And out of the blue, they got a raise of over $20,000. It was actually Australian dollars, so I think that's even more compared to US dollars. Well, remarkable. But it wasn't in their mind. They didn't think it was possible. It wasn't part of their reality, right? In the beginning, it was just, I need to let go of this brick wall of I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not lovable, whatever it was for the person we're talking about here. But once they lifted that veil of illusionary limiting belief and they began to learn and grow, the byproduct was even more than they could ever imagine. Because they didn't know it was possible, right? You can't see beyond the wall of the limiting belief to know what is possible, especially if you've been living in this way for so long. Like, I believed in myself at the time that it would be impossible to get over 100,000 views on YouTube or the podcast and so on. Starting out, probably thought I could only hit 100 or so. However, when it actually happened, on YouTube, we reached the dizzy heights of 200,000. Some algorithms kind of kicked in and made us down, but we'll be back. With the podcast, well over that at times. Never imagined that was even possible until I started to undo the limiting beliefs of what is possible. Another person, career change. Someone had, once again in this case, it was the belief of not being good enough. And it meant to them that they could only ever have this job. They didn't think that was the problem. They just thought I could only ever have this job. And magically, having let go of the root cause, they suddenly found themselves doing a project which then suddenly turned them into a whole brand new business, which gave them so much joy. It didn't feel like work whatsoever. In fact, some people who go and work safe, I know same with me because there's real life experience with real people, so I'm not going to make up things or tell you about other people's stories because I can't validify them. But many people go into my program, suddenly they want to become practitioners. That was never in their mind to help people. Like me, I didn't want to help people. That sounds mean, I just wasn't a part of my reality. My wall was I was a blusher and I didn't believe I was good enough. I was anxious, social phobic, and all those things. Never in my imagination did I ever think I would have a podcast or have over 20 million views and downloads and apps and all that stuff, investing into everything and like going on a mission. That was out of my world because I was living beyond, or not beyond, my limitation in my imagination. Now, for some people, it could be like, well, they can never imagine them being a father until they suddenly go down this path, or it could be a mother, it could be all these things. Now, why is this important for you to know right now? Because these are wonderful stories, these byproducts we don't see. Well, I invite you to consider, if you were to remove that wall, the limiting wall for a moment, and invite yourself into your imagination. If you were, let's say, not feeling good enough, and you suddenly, as hard as it is to even imagine sometimes, but you step into that person, that future you, if you were to suddenly know that you are worthy, deserving, and good enough, what life would you be stepping into? What things will you begin to see, or things to magically even pop up spontaneously without even knowing? Now, you might go, well, yeah, I might start to maybe get in shape because I'm now worthy. I'm excited about looking my best and feeling the best and so on. You might go, yeah, I'll probably go for that job interview because I'm not going to fear rejection or fear not knowing enough or have the imposter and all those things. But when you invite yourself into the imagination of your mind, we're doing a couple of things. One, we're tricking the unconscious mind very simplistically because we're taking it to a new place, to like a different lens and therefore a different reality. I've said this tons of times before. That's why we do a lot of, say, visual rehearsal sometimes in hypnosis, because you're pre-teaching the unconscious mind the new reality. So that's number one. The other thing is, when you go there and you imagine it, you start to feel it. And when you start to feel it, you will begin to actually change that lens even further. You're inviting yourself into the future you. But you're inviting yourself to see the greater aspect. It's never about someone wanting money. It's about what money will give them, the experiences, the legacy, the safety, the luxury, the willing to give to charities. But usually people just get stuck on money. But there's so much more which money will give them. When it comes, I just want a relationship, there's so much more than that. Maybe there's companionship, there's intimacy, there's like those moments of relying on someone, having your back. Like, invite your imagination into beyond the goal itself. And that is going to do a couple of things. Like I said, you're pre-teaching the unconscious. You're getting to go into that future you, and therefore you're starting to feel it. And if you feel it more, you are more in alignment with it. But on top of that, which I've kind of forgot, so it'll come back to me. Oh, it will give you more reasons as to why to change. And if you get more reasons, like when people enter my program, I want 100 reasons as to what will happen once you change. That at first is very like daunting, but trust me, when they do that and they see all the greatness of they're going to become, it goes beyond the limiting wall that we have within ourselves. Because brick by brick, that's going to disappear. But to prepare yourself for the amazing things that are about to happen, perfect. Now, if you want to go deeper in a quite a negative way, but I think a very powerful way, we tend to not think beyond our issue too. Because there's two sides of this wall, right? On one side, beyond the limiting wall, is all that wonderful positive things we haven't stepped into, looked into, researched, or imagined of what is possible. But on the same notion, when we live on the other side of the wall where we are limited, we just see what is in front of us, which is, say, the anxiety, or negative emotion, limiting belief, maybe the events that we went through. Very specific, but not enough to know, well, what will happen if I keep living in this wall? Is it going to have a literal physical change in my body if I hold on to stress? Is it going to prolong me in this pain of staying in the job that I hate? Even if we're aware of our physical body of being overweight, for example, let's say we're just very conscious of that. If we carry on that way, what's going to happen? Because what that does, it gives you a bigger, like, the stick and the carrot, right? So some people go towards the carrot, the good, which is looking and imagining all the good what is going to happen, the things we don't see yet. But sometimes we need the stick. Sometimes we need to leverage negative emotions to go, do you know what? I've got to change. Like, sometimes we get to change, but sometimes we've got to change. We've got to like look in the mirror and go, am I prepared to live the life that I'm living for the last decade? How many times have I said this? Have I been saying this really for like 10 years now? Or have I been suffering in pain or even feeling lost and alone for decades? Where those years just rolled by, and what happens if it happens for another couple of decades? And like I said, it's a darker path, but that darker path can lead us to a light, and hopefully that light bulb going off and going, do you know what? Now is my time. I'm gonna do it. Now, some of you might think sometimes, is it ever too late to let go? Now, no. I've worked with people pretty much at I'm not going to say every literal year old. Maybe, I don't know. No, I kind of know I haven't. But I've worked with people way late into their life. And do you know what? When they kind of broke through, they don't do it with regret anymore. They kind of, they wish they found me earlier, or if it wasn't me, say someone else, and they wish they got the help. I mean, look, I let go of my stuff at 18 or so. I still wish I let go of it when I was 4 or 5 years old. I think there's going to be an element of wishing we did something sooner. But it's not about that. Like, the best time was maybe yesterday or a decade or 20 years ago. But you know the second best time, which is right now. Because this is the time we have control of, not our past. So if you ever think, am I too old to let go of my issue? Or and by that I mean, like, if you feel like you've lived in your issue for so long that we're unfixable or unbroken, or unbroken? No. If we're unfixable or broken, what I will tell you is there's no time like the now. And no matter how much time we have in the future, imagine every minute, every hour you lived the remainder of your life full of bliss through learning and growth. Like, how could that ever be too late by stepping into that? So I do invite you into the process of your imagination, because at the moment, that imagination which creates the bricks, which are the events, and the graffiti, which are the words and the inner talk and the limiting beliefs and the graffiti of the emotions of anger, sadness, fear, guilt, it's going to limit you. It's going to put blinders on you. And that might be for a good intention of, let's put it this way, what's the intention of having a wall in general? Usually it's to keep things out and keep things in. So we could say safety, like any problem, any issue, it's safety. Even with the blinders, there's like to have that focus and not be distracted to be able to cause things to happen, right? So we can honor that the wall is symbolically, intentionally a positive thing. Accept that. But I wonder if we can start to tear down that wall and start to build in a new foundation, which is also liberating. Or even if you were to imagine, just keep on expanding that wall further and further and inviting more of the potentiality in, or just undoing the wall and being protected in learnings and growth and wisdom from the past. But once again, I'm just backtracking. If you want to go real deep on this, you would want to come aware of the consequences of not changing. Really, not just the context of what we're presently feeling, but the overall timeline and the deeper parts of relationships. I was talking to someone late last week even. I had another conversation which was very similar, but it was potentially a marriage issue. Like, there's a point of, is there a point where it's not going to work? And of course, we never want that. We want to be able to keep the relationships or be the best example of being the father or the mother to our children. Like whatever the context is, or the content within the context, the content within the context and the different areas of our life, there are so many ripples out there of what can happen once you make that change. So be aware of the consequences. It can cause you to wake up, right? It's going to cause you, oh my goodness, maybe I should start right now, because it's never too late. Let's start now. And on top of that, the first part, which is inviting your imagination over that wall, that symbolic wall, and really go deep in beyond the solution or the outcome, the byproduct of what you haven't been thinking about. So it could be now going, oh, actually, maybe I will lose weight, or maybe I'll get in that most amazing relationship. Maybe I'm going to move into that house I've always wanted. I'm going to be able to actually maybe, I don't know how yet, but I know when I'm happy, I'm going to be so blissful with the opportunities for the career, the job, and all those things. Like, I just know something's good. I don't know what it is yet. But when you invite yourself into that, doesn't it feel better, feel lighter, and feel more exploratory, where you kind of invite the magic to happen? And that's going to trick your unconscious mind to a degree by pre-teaching. It is going to invite you into that emotion, which is the opposite of the problem. And of course, when we do that, we're going to find more reasons to change. So use it as leverage ultimately. It's going to allow you to make deeper changes. So I hope you got value from this episode. There's some metaphors in there. There's the real experiences of my clients, like the salary increase, the weight loss just happening by itself naturally, because the body just, there's no like self-sabotage and all those kind of things, and a few other real client cases there. But it's something that will allow you to truly break free in the most amazing way. And like I said, I never believed or knew or ever even imagined. It was never in my imagination that I'd be running a podcast, an app, or running seminars in different countries at times. I'd never thought of having a Hay House book. In other words, me being an author with Hay House. Never imagined that in my existence, because it was beyond my wall. It was beyond what I thought was possible. But magical things show up when you show up, and they're going to surprise you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be liberating. And I invite you into that magic of what could show up. Of course, if you ever did want to personally work with me with my program, where we let go of the issue that you're experiencing, especially around self-sabotage, worries, anxieties, the limiting beliefs, and not being worthy or good enough, you can book a call. And on that consultation call, you go ahead and fill out a little form for us, and that just kind of prepares us. And then we go through on the call and we just figure out, look, can we solve the issue? If we can, we may invite you into the program. It is exclusive. We only want to work with people that we like, because that's the greatness we have about it. And good news for those in the program, we loved you, and that's why we want to keep just like helping you and resolving conflicts and all that kind of stuff. But josephclough.info/talk. There is an investment, of course. It's fully custom. I'm not going to do it for much longer, but I've still been doing custom hypnosis session. Your name on it, your needs, your unconscious mind. So go to josephclough.info/talk if that is of value to you. But either way, like I said, I invite you into the imagination of what you didn't realize was possible. Because even just thinking about it, you never know. New thoughts, new sparks will start to generate alternative realities, and just live in the magic for a while. Many thanks, and goodbye. We did it! We did episode 100. No, 1137. How wonderful. I like that one. It was kind of cool. Well, I like how my brain works. I know that's kind of egotistical, but I like how my brain work sometimes. Like the graffiti. Because I was thinking about what Mina was saying, like communication. Does language influence? So I was trying to therefore, well, how can I be more symbolic in my communication today? Like, how can I invite you into the representation? Whether it worked or not, I don't know. But I like that it at least came up to me. So thank you, my best friend, the unconscious mind. I appreciate you. You're awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Charles, I saw this while I was talking, so I added that in there as well. So just so you know, we do the pre-chat, post-chat, and then the content. And then I couldn't like directly call you out, in other words. That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't put your comment on the screen because I edited it all out afterwards. But I did want to touch upon it in the actual recording of the podcast. So hopefully that helped as well. Yes. I wanted to call myself out because I was saying, was that on our coaching call? Was it blinkers? I was calling them blinkers. But to me now, which I know they are, blinkers are like I don't know if it's the same in America where I live, but it's like the indicators. But yes, Mary kindly gave me the answer, which I think was a coaching call or a live stream of the Blanders. Could I do a hypnosis on this? Great to have you here, Candy. I could definitely do a hypnotic meditation on it. Make it more visual, because I can pretty much take us through that process. Because the great thing about it is, by the way, it's reframing. Because you're putting yourself into different positions. I thought of something. I don't know if I've still got it here. I'm gonna look. Bear with me, everybody. There's a really cool picture I found once. So it's gonna be way back. I have all my stuff. If I haven't deleted it. And I'll get back onto the comments. I've got so many photos. Look. Did you know I was once a sheriff? Did you know that? Young me back then as well. And did you know I actually went to prison? Anyway, where is this thing? If not, remind me and I'll bring it up another time. I don't think I've got it. Why can't I find it? Right. I want to find it, but I know I've got to get on. Yeah, anyway, it'll come back. Can't find it. No. Okay. So that meant nothing after all that, other than going to prison. Jail, actually, wasn't prison. You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you. And thank you ever so much. Yeah, live in the magic. As are you. Look at this. Talking of custom hypnosis, shout out for the custom hypnosis track. I received mine 4 days ago and I've listened to every day since. I love creating custom tracks because I was actually saying this to Mary. It's like, when I'm talking, especially those in chat, I'm kind of thinking of all of you. Or if I'm doing the like quiet, like in my office hypnosis, I'm thinking of my audience. But when I can isolate it down to one person, and of course I get to know you and understand you, it makes it very, very fun. Because like, you're there, ultimately. So I'm speaking to your unconscious mind, not just everyone's unconscious mind who experiences this issue. So thank you. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you, thank you. Oh no, you're saying awesome Mary. Well, I'm going to say thank you anyway. I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to take that awesome compliment back to Mary, and I'm going to claim it. Hey, driver, there's my friend from school days. Yeah, kind of came to me today on my walk. And I actually made notes on this one. I made a couple of notes. I wrote down, I was on my hike, I was like, without falling over, you can't see beyond the wall of limiting beliefs. And I thought, what's that about? What's that about? Yes, wanting this or something more. Yeah, I was talking to my friend, Rich, and I was saying, whenever I have a goal in mind, I want this or something more or something better. Like, surprise me. I want this or something better. And it kind of gets you locked out of that wall of what you think you want. Have a good one, Cheryl. I'm going to be closing up the stream soon. No, they weren't actually. That was real. Well, being in jail part, I'll tell you, look, I can tell you the exact moment it happened. I was caught. Of course, to go to jail, you get caught. But I was released. So this is how I got caught. I did a bit of joyriding, which led to me to going there. But then, my ex-partner's friend, father, was a sheriff, like a retired sheriff and stuff like that, and he insisted. He's like, put this on for a minute. I was like, okay, put this hat on now. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so Candy says, I've been doing the stop smoking hypnosis, but I've not had success. What am I doing wrong? Please help. I'm desperate to hate this habit and give up. So let me know what session you're listening to first. Are you listening to the sleep one? And also, talking about byproducts, Candy. Smoking is usually a byproduct of something else. So are you doing it for stress? Are you doing it for, like, say, maybe lack of confidence, escapism? Because you might want to potentially mix up and work on what maybe behind the issue is. Especially if it comes down to our identity or confidence. Say, for example, we're an anxious person and we smoke because we're anxious all the time. Then would you smoke if you let go of the anxiety? Most of the time, people, a bit like the weight loss example in my client, like I said a year or so ago, the weight just fell away all by itself. So smoking could just fall away. So I'd be curious to know that. And also, what one? Are you listening to a day of sleep or 4-hour sleep one? Oh, thank you. I'm going to borrow that compliment. Yes. There you go. I'll take that compliment. I wish I could put into words the impact of hearing your name over and over and the content being directed just to you. At first, I felt anxious since I'm not around people. I rarely hear my name. Yeah. It is because I have my own custom. I'm actually updating my custom tracks for a specific thing. I'm really dialing it into something. And I always find it funny. But I've heard my own voice so many times. And I've said to myself, hi, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough. But yeah, I find it always a little bit strange. But I'm listening to my own voice now, even when I do this. So listening to my own voice in hypnosis is a little bit interesting. Yeah, it was fun. Okay, so let me scroll back. How long for? I always just recommend 30 nights for the best one. And there is a 4-hour sleep one if that might kind of go a bit more. I'm hearing my voice too much now. Have a wonderful week, and you stay safe too. That was funny, wasn't it? Yeah, pretending he was doing the stuff. I don't know where Kevin Michael Reed is. He's finished his directing. He's probably doing something similar. That was funny though, I like that. They say we love hearing the sound of our own name, but I've found myself start to correct the layers, get tackled, and I hear you say my name. It's weird. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. I love it. A lot of people find it weird because they haven't heard their name on a hypnosis track before. So I know a lot of people have a weirdness around that because they say, I've been listening to you for say a year, or some people say like over a decade, and then they get me to say their name in it kind of like shakes them for a minute because I'm not used to the induction or the beginnings and the middles and all that kind of stuff. You know, like the create your days and all that to have a name, so that can be different. Yeah, you can mix it up sometimes. Like listen, for example, if it was the anxiety one, you could like listen for the stop smoking one for a couple of nights and then like put in the anxiety one there. Or 2 times the anxiety and then the smoking one. Good thinking, or good example there, Eric. Okay, we've been streaming for an hour. That's longer than I usually do. And I'm tired. I'm tired. I need to wake up. Before I shut down. That's true. I say friend a lot. Like, hey friend. Especially on emails. But that's a good one, yeah. I have an interesting one a little bit anyway, because I use both my names. Joe and Joseph. So sometimes it changes the relationship because they can have different meanings as well. Have a good one, Eric. Great to have you back, as always. Thank you for your kind YouTube comments, as always, expressing the meaning behind a lot of them. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think so. Well, that's the thing. It depends on the content. Like, there's 2 versions of me. Because I'm probably, throughout my life, it was more Joe. But when I made a conscious decision, I've never talked about this, by the way, I don't think, ever. I don't think I've ever talked about this on YouTube. But I went to using Joseph because I thought it sounded a little bit better on my certificate for hypnosis. So for the last 22, 23 years, I've like 24, I don't know. Can't do math. Can I do? How long have I been doing this for? In the chat, if we said, I'm not going to say I'm 42, but if I were to be, and I've been started at 18, it's 24 years. My lucky number. Anyway, so 24 years ago, I decided actually I want to include Joseph. I was never averted to it. I never thought, oh, sounds weird. So I just wanted to make it more professional. But then I got into it more. And then some people say like JC as well. I don't mind that. As long as it's nice. So I have equal energy between Joseph and Joe. In work context, I do prefer more Joseph because that's where it kind of started more so. But yeah, that was the origin of when I used Joseph more. Okay. I think that's it. I think we're done. Anything else before we go? It's my 4 p.m. I got editing to do. And some people have said that. But yeah, some people say JC on like messages and emails, which is kind of weird, right? Because I've never said or referred to myself as JC. It is simply the JC. And because I was lazy, I would just put JC on a Facebook post. So, but then people started just calling me like, not like my friends saying like Cambridge or anything like that, more like in the chats and the reviews or the emails. But I've never referred to myself really as JC. But I don't mind it as well, though. Yeah, Joseph is perfect. Don't call me late for supper, that's funny. Okay. Perfect, yes. So you might have gone now, but yeah, you if you would just try in mind, if you were free of anxiety, would it have an impact on smoking? Like, for example, like I said, stress eating. Alcohol can change our emotional state, escapism, and so on. So, mix it up. No, that was funny, wasn't it? Now, I have Joseph, JC. It's the intent behind it. Like, I have a specific friend who always calls me JC. So, I actually have a few friends who say that. They just call me JC. Like Kevin Michael Reed calls me JC. He's an example. So yeah, perfect behind all the names. I don't mind if you call me bad names, to be honest. But that's freedom of speech, right? I don't prefer you to. But if you did, there you go. Okay, now I've been talking for way too long. I got to get to work. Thank you ever so much for being here. I greatly appreciate your presence. Of course, you could do all the other things, be anywhere. You could have been going for your supper and not get in trouble. Ah, thank you. Have a wonderful week, Jen. And yeah, I'll be back next Monday, but for those in my program, watch out. I've got something exciting to share, as in a process. It's been doing great for me this last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, but I wanted to practice it to get the results, so I'm not just saying do this and it might work. I want you to do this and it will work. So that'll be this next group coaching call. So for everyone else though, I'll be back on Monday and we're going to do a hypnotic meditation, maybe on this subject we've been talking about today, since it'll be consecutive. Okay, many thanks and goodbye.